Well, I've got to be honest with you here. As we return today for the second leg of our Europa League knockout tie, I was feeling very happy and content at half time of the first leg. Unfortunately, though, we've had a warning sign. For the first time since I've been at this club, complacency has crept in. The players, well, they let a very healthy position slip up. And now, this next week could be problematic. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 20 of the Coach's Head with me, Daniel. We return today with a big game in a battle for third and fourth as we face Utrecht, who are now just 2 points behind us as the top two run away in the league. We also face Galatasaray in a second leg of the Europa League last 16, and what looked like an unbelievable position at half-time has now slipped up into a pretty difficult one, where we're going to have to get some form of result away in Turkey. If you're looking forward to seeing how that goes as we continue through a spell of very difficult fixtures, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We're going to have a look at the last couple of games that we've played off camera, which have not been plain sailing for different reasons. And we're going to get into two big ones today, as we've got 4 more before the international break, and all of them look pretty tricky. We're playing 3 of the top 7 in the league. We've got a big Europa tie as well. And it's all a lot more hard work than it needed to be, because I was thinking, and maybe it's partly my fault at half-time in the Europa League tie, we could rest a few people. As it is for the second leg, we're now going to need to go full strength, because let's see what's been happening since you were last with me. You were here as we squeezed past Panathinaikos in extra time after that 2-1 defeat, a late turnaround against PSV that went against us this time. We then had a little bit of a hangover from that 120 minutes with an FC Emmen 1-1 draw at home. Ruin Indio did save the day late on. Al-Khatani came off the bench and missed a penalty. But overall, it wasn't the worst result or performance given what we'd had in the midweek. It was also not the worst result away at Feyenoord. However, for the second time since he's been here, Sharif Kiyuf, the goalkeeper, had to be beyond the ability it suggested from his attributes, because much like that Ajax away game in the Cup, he is the only reason we got a draw after 90 minutes. He was absolutely phenomenal. We offered nothing going forward. The defence was solid, but Kiyuf made a number of unbelievable stops. So really looks like a good signing by a director of football that. But this is the game. This is the one that got me. 4-0 up at half-time against Galatasaray last Thursday. I made a mistake. I took a couple of players off. I should point out, the 2 I took off at half-time both had knocks, and then Torbed was knackered after the hour. But I maybe didn't bring on the right players. I maybe went a little bit soft on that front. And it cost us 3 goals. By 65 minutes, I was panicking. We actually did well to win the game in the end. And you can see Kiyuf had to play a part in that. Badrami didn't score, but set up 3 goals. He was phenomenal up front. Beck got 2, Yu-Hing got 1, and Thomas got 1 as well. It was just the perfect first half performance, followed by so much frustration in the second. Because where we've got these really tough league games in succession, if we'd won that by 4 goals, we could have rested people in the second leg and really focused on second and third in the league. As it is now, we're going to have to take a few risks against Utrecht and Venlo, which may well even cost us third and automatic European guarantees. So let's go and get straight through to the fixtures, because the dynamics look good. Everything else is pretty comfortable around the club too. But as we go into third v fourth, this is a game that is going to be season defining. Utrecht have got a better goal difference than us. They've got 2 of our former stars that they've poached off us for big money. And if they win this game, they'll also nick our league position of third. Now going through to the Eredivisie, which is moving up in the ranks. As it stands at the moment, if we go and have a look at the rules, 4th place is not guaranteed for Europa League football, only if one of the top 3 wins the cup as well. So we might end up in those dirty playoffs, which we struggled with a couple of years ago. For now, though, let's go and get through the tactical meeting and see how we get on, because a lot of changes recommended. There will be a bit of fatigue in the squad, I imagine, after midweek. If we have a look at the 11 we played, yep, Torbed, St. Jargo, Fofana, all key players struggling. This is going to be hard work. We're going to go and make some tough decisions on the team selection here. We'll be back in a minute to run through the 11. Well, here we go then. The 3 that drop out for this one are the 3 that were fatigued after midweek. I've got no choices at right back because of the injury to Hussein Ali. So Van der Putter despite only coming back from a long-term injury himself in midweek, is going to have to feature in this one, and hopefully it'll do us proud. We've dropped Latchkar to centre-half, with Rosier coming in as the ball-winning midfielder. Been in really poor form this year. He's been a bit over the hill. But it'll do a job for us. We know what he produces, and he's still got that seniority in the club. And then Nick Timmer, who was out tired in midweek, is the one key player who returns for this game. So hopefully that will give us a bit more in midfield in terms of creativity and quality. Because at home, generally, we have been able to create chances. I've stuck with the front four that did really well in midweek, but that's not a position I'm as worried. We've got the likes of Indio and Antman on the bench. John Conte, the youngster, too. All of them have quality. And Adeli, there's only one behind Badrami on the goal front. So it means our 11 in full is Kayuf in goal. What a signing he's been, despite me thinking he'd be a downgrade. Dokic and Van der Putter, the fullbacks, with Latchkar and Jamaid at centre-half. Rosier and Timmer, not sure they've ever started together in holding midfield, with Kwok Yu Hin ahead of them. And then it's Beck and Thomas out wide, with Bajrami up front. And if those four can play like midweek, we might well just stand a chance today. If not, Jamal Gonzaga probably tear us apart again. And there he is. As you can see, Gonzaga does start as the number 10. Kamenovic, our former centre-half, the long throw specialist, also in there. And up front, Reinders, who has scored goals against us before. We had a bit of a nightmare in a reverse fixture against them this season, and Gonzaga was the man doing running rings round us. So let's hope we can avoid that today as we head into the first half. Through the tunnel interview, positivity, good home form generally, but we have had European hangovers. We were held by MN, and though we only played 90 minutes against Galatasaray, it was a pretty brutal one, especially a very chastening second half. So we're going to have to be careful here. As Fujimoto plays out from the back for Utrecht, the last thing we want to do is give them the lead. Dokic steps in to win it, finds Timmer. Do you know what's most frustrating here as well? We've been so good defensively pretty much the whole time since we've been here, but especially at stages this season. And the way that collapse happened in the Galatasaray game really got me. But look at Van der Putter go. He's building his fitness up, getting his first team chance after Denzel Hall has sold. And he's got just the same creative threat as Torbed. Gets to the byline after nicking it high up the pitch. Cross for Bajrami across the front post. And while he set up 3 last time without scoring, Bajrami is the first man on the score sheet this time. As Tobias Beck puts a free kick in. Rosier down for Kwok Yu Hin. Thought he might have been just offside, and he was, but he missed the target anyway. A positive start from Willem II. Do you know what? I'll kind of forgive the lads if they win this one. Securing that 3rd place each year at a minimum and being the best of the rest after Ajax and Feyenoord. I'm almost looking at this in the same way as my Twitch save now with Aberdeen. Celtic and Rangers away in the distance there. Let's just be the best of the rest. And the same in this one. Can we build that club consistently into Europe? Get football, get the prize money, and maybe move forward and develop stars while we're at it. Van der Putter looks to be the next one. That cross not so accurate. Thomas lost his header, but Kamenovic lost his man. This time, it's not our former players that are harming us. They're helping us. Kamenovic loses Bajrami, who gets his 2nd of the day. A simple header into an empty net. And we 10 to half time. 2 shots on target and 2-0 up. Couldn't ask for much more. Well, at half-time, you can see from the stats, there's not much between the teams other than Van der Putter and Bajrami. Now, we've got to be careful with Tarek at right-back because he's not fully fit, but the problem is on the bench. Who would you bring on if you take him off? Torbed is tired. We need him on Thursday. Sinjago can cover right-back. He's tired. We need him on Thursday. And no other player can play there. So we are left in a little bit of a tight spot, but we'll address it in the final 20 if need be. Might just have to take a gamble with these kids and play 1 for 90 minutes one game, 1 for 90 the next. For now, though, I'm going to take off a tired attacking midfield 3. Don't want to gamble with that defensive line. I made that mistake in midweek. We're going to take Beck off for Indio. Antman will replace Yu Hin. And Thomas will come off for Conte, who's not been in great form. We're going to give him a chance here. There is just over 15 to go. And if we can keep it for 5 or 10 more minutes, we'll maybe then look at giving people a rest, because this has been an exemplary performance. I mean, even Rosier's played brilliantly. You can see Bajrami is knackered up front. His last 2 performances have been exceptional. So we're going to bring on Adeli, who's also had an outstanding season, but maybe not quite been so effective since coming back from the Asian Cup. And Nick Timmer's had an average game. So going to bring on Diabate because Al-Qahtani is struggling a little bit with match load. And to be fair, Diabate's not the worst player in the world. He's more of that ball-winning defensive type, which for 10 minutes here might not be a bad thing. But look how deep Utrecht were there. We had a free kick. There was no one near it. Jamai just plays into Rosier, and he's got space to look up for Indio. Fairly narrow, but that's because he's looking for the overlap. Van der Putter gets it. Finds Indio again. It's great football. Ruin Indio. Van der Putter's having a barnstormer. Do you know what? The director of football in selling Denzel Hall, I know it harmed us for the first month or so where we didn't have any other fullbacks fit. But if these two academy stars could rotate in that role moving forward, be a really lovely moment for the club. Two brilliant youngsters in the position. We made 8 million for a near 30-year-old that was in there before. And these two could both be better. I'm loving it. It's been a really good performance. Defensively, been much more like us. And Adeli could make it better. But I think John Conte was just off there. And that's really such a shame because he's been in poor form. Needed a big moment. And he's got it. How has that been awarded? It looked off by a mile. Not going to complain. It's 4-0. We've been in this position before. And yet again, we've let the clean sheet go. This is not like us at all. It's very frustrating. As long as we don't concede 3 this time, though, I'll very much take it. We bounced back in style with a 4-1 win against Utrecht. And I think that makes me confident that it will be 3rd place again. And that's a cracking achievement behind the big two. Now we turn our attention to Thursday night. Can we get the job done in Turkey? Can we get ourselves through? Because then maybe we have to sacrifice the Venlo game a bit. But mercifully, we've got a week off after that. And then we can prepare for AZ Alkmaar. Let's go and head through to the Turkish capital and see how we get on in midweek. Well, no real change to the squad ahead of this one because Hussein Ali says 45 minutes, but he's nowhere near fit. We'll save him for the weekend. We have, though, got a bit of extra duty and responsibility to our nation because Feyenoord have played in the early game. They are out in the Europa League, lost on penalties to Juventus, which is not a bad effort. But now the pressure is on us against Galatasaray. We should already be pretty much through in truth, but we have blown it. And we are now in a very difficult position going into the away leg. Don't forget here, pretty much all the European leagues are loaded. Turkey's one of them. And when you look at some of their players here, Adam Wharton with 13 assists for them this year. Not a bad little player, is he? Fabio Silva up front has become pretty good, as he often does in FM. Rotation option there. And then you've got the likes of Kochu, Demir, Victor Nelson at the back, who in the alternate head coach universe, we did go and manage at Bournemouth. And Rivdan Yilmaz, who often becomes a good player as well. So this is a very strong Galatasaray team. I was gobsmacked at their first half performance against us. The only thing I can hope is that, again, we can take advantage out wide because they're playing that narrow diamond. They have one of the fullbacks tucking in as well. And it just meant that in both wide areas we were able to overload. In the second half, it meant when they threw bodies forward, we were getting pasted down the middle. Let's go and see who's fit for this one because we are going to want to bring a few back in. So Torbed will come in at right back. Van der Putter, as well as he did on Sunday, is not ready for 2 games a week yet. He's come back from several serious injuries and we have to manage him. No more than 1 game a week. Certainly no more than 1 start. We're going to stick with the rest of the defence. Those with a heavy match load will be rested at the weekend. But I am going to bring in Ruin Indio for Beck on the right-hand side because Indio has impressed me in recent matches. I know Rosier played really well as well in that last game, but Fofana just been a revelation since he's come in. So he's going to start. We will get Rosier on the bench for someone, but we've actually got more than 12 subs in good condition, which is a miracle. So Rosier will go on the bench for the transfer listed Grerdem, who drops out the squad entirely. We're going to stick with the rest of it though. I'm very happy with how we're playing generally. We just need to be a bit tighter at the back than the second half of the first leg. So the subs made today are Torbed in, Fofana in and Indio in. And hopefully the outcome will be the same. We'll do it a little bit better and more convincingly. If we can get through to a quarter final, you have to say it's been an incredibly successful year in Europe. Let's go and see if we can pull it off. Well, it's just one change for Galatasaray today. Alistair Johnson, the man who drops out, and he is not even in the squad for this one. Demir is going to be in there instead. He's a good player. We know they've got quality. Adam Wharton was the key to them getting back in the game in the first leg. And on the bench, of course, we're coming up against a former star in Denzel Hall. Didn't feature in the first leg. Will he feature in this one? Will he be a difference maker? Let's just hope not. Massive money we made for him, and his successor is Arancello Torbed. Let's see what he can produce in this second leg as we go through. Ask the lads to prove a point. Hopefully they turn up for the big occasion. Just don't fall away like you did in the second leg. That's all I'm asking for. We get beat in the narrow 2-1, 2-0 game, whatever, fair enough. But don't fall apart as we've got a throw early with Dokic to Nigel Thomas. These wide areas are where we're going to have the success. Instead, we turn it inside. Can we now switch to play quickly? Not the way Jamide's going. Nice and slow. Back to the keeper. Kiyuf switches it out to Torbed, and there is the space. But he gives it away. Fofana can't get there. Maybe we will miss Denzel Hall. The young man makes a mistake, and immediately it's 4-4 on aggregate. You can't help but feel that's going to be costly. He's a young lad. He's going to learn from it. He's been brilliant this season. But in the biggest moment, has he got the bottle? Has he got the experience? Evidently not on the evidence so far. That's going to be a big moment in this tie. You just feel it will give them the lift. We're going to try and encourage our boys with touchline shouts for the last time in FM24. Lord knows what I'm going to do next year to get the morale out without it. Half an hour gone. We're yet to have a shot. But we're still in a tie. It's okay for now. But here come Galatasaray again. And it might not be after this. Here is the goal scorer. Back to Adam Wharton. Bertini gets to the right-hand side. In the box it goes. Was that offside? Doesn't matter. It's put wide via the post. We survived it regardless. 10 to the break. 4-4 on aggregate. And this was all oh so avoidable. Even if we lose this tie tonight, the damage will not be done in this leg. As Orkan gets it again. Good ball into the box. Unmarked header. It's the left back who's gone to sleep this time. Indio's been blamed for missing the interception. But I think it's Dokic who's fallen asleep at the back stick. And at half-time, to be fair, very similar story to the first leg. Galatasaray basically scoring every shot on target. The only difference this time is we've not really offered anything. But we've got an early corner second half that's been flapped at. Kwok Kyu Hin shots blocked on the edge of the box. Thomas goes wide to Dokic. Support in the middle. Back to Torbed instead. Can he make amends? He goes in himself and puts it just wide. You've got to cross there. He's trying to be the hero now. He's really not impressed today. It's maybe just been a game too far for him. But we have got a throw on the left and we've definitely started this half better. That one's been cleared away, but Jamide finds the keeper. We can still work it forward here to Timmer. Let's be honest, we were probably slight underdogs going into this tie. When you're 4-0 up in the first half of the first leg, you're going to be disappointed if you go out. And unfortunately, what happened in that second half of the home leg is going to live with me for a long time. As Kwok Kyu Hin goes back to Jamide. This is good football. But can we get that ball wide quicker? That extra touch is just costing us here. Ruin Indio does find Fofana though, who's making another one of those bold overlapping runs. And it's another one of those brilliant finishes. Scored his first for the club in the second leg of the last tie. A big performance for him against Panathinaikos. And he's done the same again in Europe against Galatasaray. That experience the director of football has added, which has been rare for him since he's been here. He's often gone younger players. But what a signing Fofana's been. I wasn't sure he's going to be a starter. He's turned up and he's been a superstar. Torbed down the right now. Into the box he goes. Just loses out again. And now they can break away with Kochu. Down the line to Fabio Silva. Do not concede straight away. We've just got back in the tie. Bettini brings it forward. Chance to shoot. Over the bar. Torbed is not going to last much longer. There's a couple of others I like to do as well. We've got a throw on the right here with Torbed though. Can we just find our way back in? Do to them what they did to us. From 2-0 down, could we get back to 2-0 on the night? Long ball towards Thomas. He's not winning that. Bettini back to Nelson. It's not going to be extra time again, is it? We can't afford that domestically. Back to Bettini. Carries it past the midfield with ease. Up to the centre forwards. Fabio Silva, a whisker wide. Kiyuf has been good for us so far, but he didn't even move for that one. Every shot on target in this game has gone in. And with 25 to go, Van der Putter will get a run out at the very least. He's on for Torbed, who struggled. We're also going to take off Thomas on the left-hand side. And I'm going to bring on, I might go Tobias Beck here for the bit of experience. I don't think this is the game for Conte, although he did score off the bench, didn't he? No, let's go Tobias Beck. Do you know why? Same reason as Indio. Height and jumping reach at the back post. I think it's our most likely chance of a goal, so I'm going to stick with him. 25 remaining. 5-5 on aggregate. A thrilling tie. Not the best defensively from either. But you have to say Galatasaray have had more of the threat tonight. Here is the corner again. Headed over by Wharton. Don't want to be giving him 3 headers in there. Indio struggling, Uhine struggling, Dokic the same. Van der Putteren with a tackle, but we're going to have to make some subs soon and gamble. As Fabio Silva breaks down the left. No, not again. Fofana sent off for a second yellow. I've talked about how well he's done since he's got here. He's really let us down there. And that means it's not going to be Antman on for Uhine. We're going to have to go for a more defensive option. Rosier will come on and drop in there. We'll play with no number 10. Indio off on the right wing, replaced by... That could be Antman in fairness. My options are him or Conte, but given the narrow style that Galatasaray are playing with, I feel I might have to go for Antman. He's a better footballer, but then Conte gives us that pace and that dribbling ability on the break. Let's go for Conte. Do you know what? We're going to need individual magic here. Back out to the right. And Dokic is knackered at left back. So Boslic on for him. And with what? Just under 20 minutes to go. We're going to have to do a holding on job here. Extra time would now be a pleasant surprise. As much as it was harmless for the weekend. Are we going to find one opportunity in the last 10 minutes? Or a Galatasaray going to blow us away? Looks like neither for now. But there's still 5 to go. We wait. We wait to see if we get a chance. We may get one extra sub though, which may be a blessing in disguise. But Galatasaray have a corner. Don't do it to me like this. Into the front post. Bajrami wins it. Back to Obispo on the edge of the box though. Chance to shoot. Oh, that's crushing. That is crushing. In the 93rd minute of the tie. It's 6-5 on aggregate to Galatasaray. Fofana has gone from hero to villain in the space of 20 minutes. And from 4-0 up in the first half of the first leg, we go out on aggregate. Disappointment, but a big learning lesson. A good first season in Europe for us. But still, really disappointing in the circumstances. But again, I say it, tonight is not what did the damage. If we'd have done our job at the end of that first leg, that 3-1 defeat wouldn't have mattered at all. We let in 3 goals in the second half at home, and that has cost us a place in the quarter-final. Dutch football will have no representatives. It's £1 million for us though. Fofana, very upset with that. That's a fine for him. Let's have a look at the schedule for when we're going to be back. Because I think now for the rest of this season, it is just a case of doing our job, being best of the rest. So, providing we don't get any closer to the top 2 and get embroiled in a title race, which we briefly did last year, we're just going to come back for the final 2 games against Groningen and against Ajax, who potentially could be champions again. They've managed to get past final this time. But the good news is, it looks like 3rd place is a lot closer. A top 4 place is all but wrapped up. And as long as one of those big boys goes on and wins the cup, which may be difficult because the semi-final, they're facing each other. In fact, Feyenoord have won that tie. So it's Feyenoord v de Graafschap. And we need Feyenoord to win it. Because otherwise, 4th place would not be enough in the league. And we would then have to rely on finishing 3rd, which just adds that little bit of pressure. If you want to find out what does happen though, and you did enjoy this one, heartbreaking Europe after a brilliant league performance, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Where has our defensive record gone, and will it continue to drain us? Because Venlo in 3 days, there won't be all of them boys fit. It could get a little bit tense just yet. If you want to stay up to date and find out if it does, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. You can find a link to both key playlists up in the eye above, as well as our development update from FM25 last week. There's also links there to the Twitch channel for regular live streams and a football podcast with a new season of championship predictions on the way. But thank you very much for watching, for being along as always. And I'll see you again in a couple of days' time as we finish the season away at the champions in waiting.